Hello and welcome back. I want to do a video today about garden design and some of the tips that I picked up whilst I was designing this garden. So the first thing that I did was to measure the garden out, and I did that just by basically striding it. So my stride is about 1 metre, so basically I just strided out the garden just to have a rough idea what I'm working with and what space I had to play with. And the second thing that I did was get the ideas out of my head and onto paper. So I was designing it for about a year. I had loads of different designs. And then the design that I came to use, I've actually still got it. So I'll show you that now. But I just want to say, I'm not a garden designer, so this is a bit rough and ready. But basically, we're just to get something onto paper, so I had something to work with. So this is the top half of the garden. I did it in 2 halves. So basically we just got the measurements here and where I wanted to put the path and the oak. Basically these were like statement plants I wanted to put in, and everything else basically we're just filling in. So just to get something on paper, so I had an idea of what to work with. And this is the bottom half of the garden. Just a few measurements, where the path was, where the pond was. And then when I did the fire pit area, I sort of have a bit of a better idea of what I was doing, so a bit better measurements, knew exactly which plants I wanted to put in, where I wanted to put them, so it's a bit better, this one, a bit more detailed, but it doesn't need to be detailed, it's basically just something to get on paper. So let's go and have a look at some planting. So basically, if you look in any garden design books, what they'll say is, put the big stuff at the back, sort of like tear it down and like do it in triangles. Which is, to be fair, this is what I've done in quite a lot of the garden, but for the tropical design, don't be afraid to put big stuff at the edge of the path or at the front of the border, like this Trachycarpus. So at this size you can plant underneath it, you can plant at the back of it, you can still see. I think the most important thing is you get that canopy, so that really does make the tropical style when you've got that canopy above your head. And then same again here, I've got this Garrya elliptica, so this will grow up into a tree. So again, I'll have that canopy up here, and then what I can do is I can lift it from the bottom, underplant it, build it up, get that lush style planting, and then you can go a step further and sort of like have it like this, where you have big things at both sides of the path, and it really does go right over the path and have that jungle style planting. I won't do this in the old garden. It looks alright here, but I won't do it with the old garden like this for 2 reasons. One, I think it's a bit too full on. So like when I walk down the path here, I'm like snapping branches off and stuff, so I don't really want to be doing that. And the second is, it'll take a lot of feeding and watering if you had the old garden like this. And I'm on well drained soil here, so it'd be me that I'd have to do the feeding and watering for them. So yeah, I don't really want to be doing that for the old garden. But if you look at that and think that's great, then yeah, plant your whole garden up like that. It will look really good, but it's just a bit too full on for me. So back to here, I think it's important to get a lot of evergreens into your garden, because obviously your garden's there 12 months of the year. So I don't want to be looking out at winter and where I've protected the plants, so looking out on fleece and plastic and bare soil where all the annuals have died off. So I like to have some hardy tropicals and the evergreens in. And then if you're tearing it down, you sort of like have the big stuff at the back, the evergreens, and then at the front you just sort of like want something that's just like billowing over onto the path. I've got the colocasia here, the persicaria over this side, and I've got some grasses, so you just want something small that goes out onto the path. And then in the middle you have like herbaceous perennials and annuals that you can buy or grow from seed, or the tender plants like I've got this begonia here, or you can even bring house plants out. You just fill in the gap, making it so it's nice and lush so you can't really see the fence. So yeah, that's what you're going for, just filling in, making it nice and lush. So we'll go back out and have a look from here. So if we look back over the garden, you can sort of like see it like builds up from the bottom here. It's sort of like they've got the triangles again, so it comes up to Trachycarpus, comes back down, and up and down here again. It's all sort of like in the triangles sort of style, and then you've got like the repeat colouring of the Delphinium and the Trachycarpus repeated through. I think it's important to repeat stuff through the garden, because then it's sort of like pleasing on the eye. Like we've got the sort of like limey green, yellow here, and it comes through, picks up all the way through up to the orange of the buddleia. So I think it is important to sort of like repeat plant through, because I think we've all done the same thing. You go out and you buy one of everything, so which that's alright, but I think you do need to repeat stuff. So like me, what I'm doing here now is I've got most of what I want, so I'm taking cuttings, I'm dividing stuff, collecting seed, and then I can get stuff obviously for free and then repeat it all the way through the garden. I know one thing that I've seen on other people's videos is when you can't see it back of the garden, I think that's one of the best looks you can get. I mean, obviously here I ain't quite got that yet, just need the stuff in the back to mature, but what I'm going to have soon is where the Trachycarpus are here, they're going to like obscure that view. So I think if you can obscure the view so you can still see through it, but it is obscured, it draws you up the garden, and obviously when them two grow I'm going to get that canopy again. So that, I mean, that's what we're looking for. You're looking for that canopy. So, and the last thing is about dividing the garden and garden rooms. So you don't need fences and edges and stuff like that to divide the garden. So if you see here, sort of like got the soft planting, the fire pit, onto the more desert style planting, and then if you just look over here, it's more wildlife, flowering, flowers and stuff like that. And then as we walk back into the garden, it starts to get a bit more built up. You've got that canopy again, and then it sort of like goes through, and it's a bit more jungly towards the back. So if you can build it through and sort of change the garden as you walk through it. So as you're going through, everything sort of like starts changing. So you've got different rooms in the garden, but no physical divides. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's your garden, so you plant it up however you want. No, it's you that has to live there, so you don't have to look at somebody's garden and think, right, I need to do it like that. Basically, you just do it however you want. There's no rules, so yeah, put in whatever you want. Right, so I hope this could give you a few tips. Thanks for watching, bye.